The Southern Connecticut region is very excited to share a video about Haydn. Haydn was born on March 31st, 1732, in a small town called Rohra in Austria. His father was a wheelwright and an amateur musician, and his mother was a cook for the lords of the village. At an early age, Haydn started to show his musical gifts. A cousin, who was a school principal and choirmaster in the nearby city of Heidelberg, offered to take him into his home and train him. His parents let him go, because they knew that Haydn would not become famous in a small town. Haydn, not yet 6 years old, left Rohra and did not return to his home except for rare brief visits. It was hard for Haydn, but he was determined to learn more about music, and to learn how to play the violin and the harpsichord.
Haydn was a very talented singer, and at age 8, his singing impressed Georg von Reuter, the director of music in St. Stephen's Cathedral in Vienna. Reuter happened to be visiting Hamburg and was looking for boys to serve in his choir. Haydn passed his audition with Reuter, and after several months of further training, he moved to Vienna, where he spent the next 9 years as a member of the choir. At 17, Haydn's voice had matured to the extent that he could no longer sing high choral parts, and he was eventually expelled from Reuter's choir. Haydn tried his hand at various jobs in the field of music, but his success came as the composer of an opera, Der krumme Teufel, or the Limping Devil.
During 1759, Haydn took up the position as musical director in service of Count Ferdinand Maximilian Franz Morzin. He was given the pleasure to stay at the Palace of Lukabec near Pilsen, which is where Haydn's first symphony is written. Symphony Number One, in D major, is just the first of 11 symphonies that are believed to have been written by Haydn for the Count. In November of 1760, Haydn married Maria Anna Aloisa Apollonia Keller at St. Stephan's Cathedral in Vienna. The two never had any children. When Prince Paul Anton Esterhazy, Haydn's employer, passed away, Prince Nicholas Esterhazy I became Haydn's new employer. Working under Esterhazy, he composed overtures, symphonies, concerts, suites, minuets, serenades, and operas. After the death of the head conductor of the orchestra in 1766, Haydn succeeds him, transforming the Esterhazy orchestra into one of the best in Europe at the time. Later on, Haydn formed a close relationship with Mozart during his visits to Vienna. Haydn and Mozart highly respected each other's work and influenced each other. Mozart stated that he learned to write quartets from Haydn and dedicated 6 of them to his beloved friend.
In 1790, Prince Anton succeeded his father, Prince Nikolaus, after his passing, leading to instrumental developments in Haydn's career. Anton did not have much need for Haydn's services and allowed him to travel freely. At the same time, Haydn received and accepted a lucrative offer from Johann Peter Salomon, a German violinist, to visit England and conduct symphonies. By this time, Haydn was already popular in London. His music dominated London concerts, and his work was widely published. Haydn's first journey from 1791 to 1792 was tremendously successful. During this time, Haydn's wealth and acclaim skyrocketed. Charles Burney, an English composer and musician, described his first concert, stating, "Haydn himself presided at the pianoforte, and the sight of that renowned composer so electrified the audience as to excite an attention and a pleasure superior to any that had ever been caused by instrumental music in England." Haydn's visits to London resulted in the composition of some of his most recognized works. These included the Surprise, Military, Drum Roll, and London Symphonies, the Rider Quartet, and the Gypsy Rondo Piano Trio. In 1790, Haydn met the young Ludwig van Beethoven, who became another exceptionally influential composer. Beethoven went to Vienna after Haydn returned there and was his pupil up until Haydn's second journey to London in 1794. Haydn brought Beethoven with him to Eisenstadt, teaching him some musical counterpoint. After Haydn's second journey to London concluded and he returned to Vienna again, he reclaimed his position as music director at Esterhazy under the proposition of Prince Anton's successor, Nikolaus II. He took up this job part-time, spending the summers with the Esterhazy establishment. Over several years' time, Haydn wrote 6 masses for the Esterhazies. Haydn had become a public figure by this point. He wrote works for public performance, including his 2 oratorios, The Creation and The Seasons, both of which were widely embraced. He regularly appeared before the public, usually leading performances of these oratorios for charity benefits. Haydn also composed instrumental music. notably the prominent trumpet concerto and 9 more string quartets, including the Fifth, Emperor, and Sunrise. He notably also wrote an Emperor's Hymn, which was received with gusto and became a symbol of Austrian identity until the First World War. Eventually, however, Haydn's rapidly deteriorating health took a toll, marking an end to this successful period of his career.
In Haydn's later life and eventual death, by the end of 1803, his condition declined to the point that he could not compose. He suffered from dizziness, painfully swollen legs, the inability to concentrate, and weakness. Although he could not do anything to compose, he stated, "I must have something to do. Usually musical ideas are pursuing me to the point of torture. I cannot escape them. They stand like walls before me." Before this, he wrote pieces such as symphonies, overtures, divertimentos, and more parts such as string quartets, divertimentos in 3-part trio sonatas, string trios, various duos, concertos for various instruments, marches, dances, and works for various instruments such with baritone. He died on March 31st, 1809. Haydn established key classical forms such as the symphony, the string quartet, the sonata, and the concerto. Although they already existed, he was only there to promote them. He used the sonata form in many works in the beginning and the end.
Now, Catherine Wong of the Southern Connecticut region will be playing the second movement of Sonata Number 58 by Haydn. Hope you enjoy!